Residents and staff of nursing homes in the US state of Indiana have received their first doses of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine. The first were administered on Monday, with a second to follow within weeks.
That feels good.
These were some of the very first people in the United States to go to war with a new virus without weapons to fight it. 10 months into the pandemic, they are finally getting the most powerful weapon available, a vaccine.
What is this day like for you?
What I feel right now is a new life, a new beginning, but a better life.
This was the first epicenter of America's deadly coronavirus outbreak.
What was your most difficult day?
March 4th.
Registered nurse Chelsea Ernest cannot get the memory of what happened that day out of her head.
That was the night there was like 5 ambulances in the parking lot.
Patients were dying or needed to be hospitalized. Ultimately, 39 patients died. 10 died at the facility.
Whose job was it to call the family members?
There were many that I had to call to either say they were going out to the hospital or that they didn't make it.
The trauma of those days in March and the family members' cries haunts them all. That same month, several members of the staff spoke to CNN. Life Care Center said in the first few days they begged government agencies for help and received little.
Did you get what you need when you needed it?
No.
Testing took days to get the results then. Now they have a rapid test that takes minutes. Initially, the staff was blamed for not controlling the COVID outbreak by just about everyone.
We got threats.
What kind of threats?
All kinds of death threats. We ended up getting security.
And soon threats of a loss in funding and a fine of $611,000 unless the facility resolved problems found by inspectors. Federal inspectors said Life Care failed to rapidly identify and manage all residents, putting them in immediate jeopardy. State inspectors reported similar findings. Life Care Center appealed.
We knew what we had done was the best we could have done.
In September, a state administrative judge largely agreed, saying the state provided relatively little evidence that the facility actually failed to meet any expected standard of care or failed to follow public health guidelines. The federal case is still pending. 10 months after the initial chaos of the outbreak, the closest we could get was a look from the outside in. In-person visits are still forbidden.
Why don't you guys cover his legs up?
The chairs outside patients' windows used by families to communicate in March are now a semi-permanent fixture here. This facility is COVID-free right now, but several of the nursing homes Nancy Butner oversees are not.
There is not a day that goes by where I don't get a phone call or a message that we have a new positive patient or staff.
Coronavirus is still killing patients.
Absolutely.
Still sickening staff.
Yes.
Which is why this day is one of the most hopeful days they've had. But for this physician's assistant, the day was bittersweet.
I have one resident who last week asked me if she can get the vaccination. I said, sure, you can. Unfortunately, she had to pass away, so I did promise her that she would get it, so it's just sad that she didn't get to see this today.